everyone, it's Shel from Paper Rock TO Studio, and today I'm sharing with you my page that I made in April for the Canvas Corp Brands Creative Crew. This is our traveling art journal project, and I've received someone's journal in the mail, and I'm making a page and then sending it on. So this particular journal has a little pocket in between the pages, and I thought it would be fun to put a coordinating altered tag inside the little pocket, and then of course do the 2-page spread. I've already coated these pages with gesso and let them dry, and then you just saw me put gesso on the tag as well. And I had this little bottle that was almost empty of ivory plain Jane baseboard. That's the Tattered Angel spray that doesn't have shimmer in it, and I wanted a gray. I'm sure that there is a gray. I haven't looked yet, but I'm sure that there is, but I didn't own it. So I used a little bit of ivory and a few drops of coal black and mixed them up inside that almost empty little 1-ounce spray bottle to make gray. The reason I wanted gray was because I'm using this Mixed Media Origins paper. If you guys have been watching my channel, you saw me make a page with an owl. I painted him, with watercolors or something, and it was this big owl on a page. This is the leftovers of the page that has a really cool pattern on it, and it looks like classic mixed media where you use objects to make marks. But I wanted that look. I wanted that kind of mark making grungy look. But it's the page is just too big to fit on these little pages in this book. So what I did was I cut out the dandelion design that was in the background of the owl. It's just the leftover bits. You can use every single teeny tiny bit of paper. Even packaging often has a lot of stuff on it that's really cool. And this is this cool dandelion with the puffy part, the seed part. So I cut that out of the page, and I'm coloring it using some of the baseboard mists. I think I have grass, vine, sky blue, sunshine might be the name of the yellow. I've got ivory, and then of course I've still got that gray, and I've got some baby pink to kind of mix in with the yellow color to make kind of an orangey color. And I'm just mixing and blending on my little cheap plate from Walmart. It was like 79 cents. It's just a little Corel plate or something that I sometimes use as a palette. And I'm coloring in all the pieces of this little cutout piece that I'm going to attach to the page. So that was my first project to do. Some coloring. I'm using the sky blue kind of around the edges of the puff to give it some more dimension. They're kind of white. They've got some grayish brownish colors in them as well, but I didn't want to really get brown. I wasn't into the whole brown thing right now, so I just added the light blue around the edges to kind of give it, I don't know, make it look more see-through, because I didn't cut out every little line on that. I just made a circle around the whole design. So once I was done painting it, I did want to seal it because I knew I was going to be using decoupage glue to glue it on. So I just took some fluid matte medium and painted it over it and then set it aside to dry. So that will seal it. So now I'm working on the page itself, and I've got out that gray color that I made by mixing ivory and coal baseboard Tattered Angel spray, and I sprayed it on the page, and then I'm taking some mark making tools that I have around my desk. I've got a lot of different circle ones because I tend to use circles. They're the inside of tubes, the lids, different stuff like that, the inside of a tape. And I've also got a piece of bubble wrap because the design on that Mixed Media Origins paper looked kind of like bubble wrap, only it was just big. It's like they made this and then they made it big. You know what I'm saying? So right there, there was too much spray on my my bubble wrap, and you'll see I'm wiping it off. The reason that I can wipe it off is because I coated this page with gesso first. So it's not absorbent. It has a sealed page to it, and it gives me the opportunity to maybe wipe off some of that media. Of course, this is a water-based, like a watercolor type of a spray. It's not an acrylic, permanent thing. So it gives you the opportunity to work with it a little bit more if you make a blobby mistake like that. Also, I took my water spray bottle, sprayed a little bit over those darker gray areas on the two corners. The reason they are there is because it draws your eye from the left upper corner to the right lower corner. Kind of flows. But I sprayed some spray on there, and then I used my paper towel to kind of blot and lift up and make some like lighter spots within that spray pattern. Then I got out the coal black and I sprayed that on my deli paper and made some more marks with the black because it's a little bit darker than the gray. It gives more dimension. So this is a very neutral idea of a page. I wanted it to be very neutral, adding a few colors of little splashes and splots of color, but mostly neutral. And that's the reason that I use the gray and the black and the ivory. I splattered a little bit with ivory as well, and now I'm adding in a few little splatters of colors using the vine, the sunshine, and the sky blue. And that's the only color that I have on there, are just those little splatters. In addition, of course, to the painted dandelion fluff thing. Dandelion, it's not the bloom because that would be the flower. It's the seed pod fluff. I don't know. I don't know what it's called. So now I'm sealing all of that, and I've got out this glossy Collage Page. It's an Aleene's product, Tracy Bautista product. And I'm going to tell you something, and then you're going to see that I didn't do a very good job of following my own advice. But I want to seal all that water-based media because I know I'm going to collage over the top of it. So I took my brayer, and what you need to do is you get the brayer in the sealant and you roll it once. You don't keep rolling back and forth. You don't roll it around all over the place, because when you do that, it smears the stuff that you're trying to seal. And I did a pretty good job on the right hand side of following my own advice, but on the left hand side I did get a little bit of yellow smears because I was trying to get in around those spiral bound thingies. This is the reason I don't like working in a book that's already made, because I knew that the glossy Collage Page was going to make the page glossy, and I wanted to make all of the page glossy. I wanted to hit all of the parts. So I was trying with my 2-inch brayer to get in between there. And of course, it kept banging into the spirals, and that's the reason that I ended up making a little bit of yellow smears, but it didn't matter in the end. So I set that aside to get all good and dry before I work on it anymore. And I've got out my gessoed tag now. And again, using the gray and all the mark making tools and some of the black to make this look very similar to the page, of course, because I want it to coordinate or kind of match. So something that is interesting on this Mixed Media Origins paper background that I'm using is that there is a reverse of that same dandelion design. Instead of it being gray on white with lines, it's white on gray. So I'm going to use that on the tag later because I thought that was an interesting concept, that it's kind of like when you use a stencil and you get it all sprayed and then you flip it over onto a scratch page to get the rest of the spray off of it, and it makes a reverse image. It's very similar to that idea. So taking off the tape, trying to get anything goopy off of this spiral thingies. And then I'm going to do a little bit of pen work. on this page. I got a gray Posca pin. That one has a medium tip, and then I've got my black and white fine tips. And I'm drawing the little seeds. You know, when you have that puff ball and you blow on it, and all the seeds scatter. You know, we did this as kids, and I'll bet you all those older ladies and men who were trying to keep their yard nice probably got really irritated when we did that. That's just scattering all those dandelions everywhere, but it was so fun. So I'm drawing the seeds. I drew them in gray, and then I'm adding highlights with the white fine tip pen, and then I'll go in and add some shadows with the black fine tip pen as well. And I also put some little dots all around the puff ball with the white pen. You know, just add a little bit of detail. I know that I'm going to put a quote in the center of the second page, so I'm not drawing anything in there because I'm just going to cover it up with a quote anyway. Then I'm taking my black pen. Now, this line pattern of the dandelion that I cut out is in gray, and so I'm adding a little bit of black just to give it more depth. Real kind of sketchy, not going around every little thing carefully, but just kind of adding black here and there to add a little bit of depth into that gray color because it was kind of flat. And then adding the black into the seeds as well to make them stand out a little bit more. So in the description box below, there will be a link to the blog post about this traveling art journal project, what people are doing in my group. There's 12 of us, and so you'll be able to see everyone else's pages. It won't all be videos. Some of it will be pictures. A lot of people do write blogs about their pages. I think there's only 3 or 4 of us that are doing videos, but you'll be able to see all the other pages as they travel around the world, because they're not just in the United States, they're going to Germany and I don't know, all different kinds of places. So it's pretty cool to follow along with it, and I will have that link to it's the Canvas Corp Brands Creative Crew blog that you can go see. Also below the video will be all the links with the products that I used. Most of them from Canvas Corp Brands, obviously, because that's the Creative Crew. You know what I'm saying. So once all my pen work was done and I made my little scratchy border around the edge, added highlights, shadows, I also added in some shadows around the collaged pieces using a medium gray Pitt pen. Now I have printed out my quote. I'm going to put my quote on the second page, and then I'm going to finish my tag that's going to go in that little pocket. It's like they folded over the page and made you know, so that you can put something in between. It just happens to be there. It's not on every page of this book. This was a purchased book that she got, and it's made out of kind of like a smooth cardstock or Bristol paper. I don't know where she got it, but it's pretty cool. A little bit on the small side, but we weren't supposed to have really big journals because we're mailing them obviously everywhere. So I went ahead and splattered my quote, and I put it on a piece of glossy cardstock to back it, and then I'm gluing that onto my page. And that completes the second part of the layout. So my 2 pages are done, signing it at the bottom there. Then I've also got some Stickles glitter glue, and I'm putting that on the puff just to add a little bit of sparkle. I didn't use any glimmer mist from Tattered Angels, so there's not any sparkle on this. This will be the only place where there's any glitter or glimmer, is just on the little puff and a little bit on the 2 folded down ones as well. So to complete my altered shipping tag, I am going to glue it onto a back of glossy black cardstock to give it a nice framed border. And then I've cut out and cut down that other graphic I was talking about that has the gray background and the white dandelion on it, which is the opposite of the other one. kind of the reverse of it. And I'm going to use that on my tag. I got out these Petaloo trims and some paper flowers. I got these from Canvas Corp Brands when we did a, sometimes with other companies, we'll do like a little exchange where we do products with, projects with their products, and then they do projects with our products. I can't remember what it's called, a brand exchange maybe, or something like that. They're from that. It's when we had a little pairing with a company called Petaloo. And the flowers are mistable. So I used the sunshine color yellow and the baby pink and colored this little flower, and then I glued it over the puff to make it look more like a flower. And then I'm just using the plastic from the inside of the bottles to color in, and also to add a little border and splatters onto this little piece. And I'm also using some of the cotton lace trimming from the Petaloo company. I got both of these things free from Canvas Corp Brands from Petaloo, if that makes sense. And so a little bit of that white, it's like a cotton crocheted lace. It's pretty cool. And I glued that down with tacky glue. Then I'm gluing my other little piece on with tacky glue. It's dimensional because it has the lace, and then it also has that little flower that's, you know, coming out. And then of course I'm going to put some ribbons in to the tag. I got some yellow organza, and then I found this silver trim, and I thought I'll put that on there too, because gray, silver, silver, gray, kind of the same thing. Thought it looked kind of nice. So I don't want my ribbons to be real big or long or anything, because, you know, they're going to be sticking out the top of the book. Once that tag is in between the two pages, tucked into the pocket, you'll see, all you'll see of it is these ribbons sticking out. So I put a little bit of the silver trim and then this yellow organza ribbon, and then I've got this really fine silver cord, which I was all out of it, and it turns out that my mom had some, so she brought over her little spool of it as well. I really need to find it. I think Stampin' Up! Still has it, so I'm gonna try to buy it from a demonstrator. And once that is all trimmed up, it's just going to tuck right down in that pocket, and I will be done with my little project. This final thing that I'm going to do is something that I do a lot of my pages, and I don't really talk about it, but somebody was asking me, how do you keep your page from sticking together? I use this Daddy Van's unscented beeswax that I get off Amazon, and I'll be sure to put a link down in the below. And I put that over if I'm doing a glossy page, and it keeps it from sticking. So that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.